How many things can happen in one chapter? We've got major lore ramifications, a brutal death, and a new Devil Fruit awakening. Let's get into it. We open One Piece chapter 1069 in utter chaos. The Egghead Island staff are panicking. Dr. Atlas, their defender, went down. They don't know what the attackers are here for, but they want to be very far away from that. The whole group is sprinting away from CP0 as fast and as hard as they can. Someone who is not running away, however, is Luffy. He, Jinbei, and Chopper are standing their ground, ready to confront the intruders directly. They've never been afraid of danger or taking on the world government. Well, maybe Chopper, but they also have no idea how to get up to the cloud layer above. The one member of their group somewhat familiar with the environment, Bonnie, is still unconscious. Where else are they supposed to go? That said, when Chopper finally gets a good look at who they are dealing with, he starts to panic. Even Jinbei looks a little concerned. They remember who Cypher Pole are and know not to take them lightly. The Celestial Dragons are sending in their strongest fighters for this assassination. They are one step shy of fighting another Buster Call. They are serious about wanting Vegapunk dead. Luffy, however, is just straight up angry, demanding to know what Rob Lucci is doing here. Mr. Pigeon Man, unruffled, points out that it is a government island and that they are government employees. They are clearly supposed to be here, blowing people up. That's enough to convince Luffy. It's not like he knows what government people do for a living. Plus, as pirates, these Straw Hats are the ones who are technically not supposed to be here. Rob Lucci has a surprisingly good grasp on how his rival thinks. Kaku notes that Luffy's presence here is annoying for their mission. Even beyond the question of if they can beat Luffy in a fight, Cypher Pole regulations state that they cannot engage with a Yonko without permission. CP0 may be assassins, but like good world government employees, they do their paperwork properly. However, before they can back away, Luffy notices something. He takes a second to pass Bonnie to Jinbei, leaving her with the helmsman so he can investigate this thing. Stussy, meanwhile, backs up Kaku's take on the situation. It is not just a matter of following the rules. Fighting Luffy and his subordinates could start a war. Luffy may not be like most Yonko, but he's still got the Grand Fleet. Both Fishman Island and Wano fly the Straw Hat flag. They are not going to take anything happening to Luffy well. For that, and due to his sheer strength, they really should not fight him. But unfortunately for CP0, Luffy has just realized what the big smoking thing they are standing by is. And he is not happy about it. The Straw Hat captain looks into the unconscious broken face of Punk Atlas, the friendly giant from before, now covered in blood. That's got to have been a surprise. Atlas was not the easiest person to get along with, but she was kind to the Straw Hats when they intruded on her island. And now, she looks almost dead. Lucci sees that look on Luffy's face. As he knows to his team, fighting the Straw Hats is not a good idea. But they might not have another choice at this rate. Luffy tells Chopper to tend to Atlas, and the little reindeer agrees, though he knows that this may be more of a job for Frankie than him. That done, Straw Hat faces Pigeon Guy with an intimidating glare. Lucci isn't ruffled at first, simply telling Luffy that this is government business and he should not interfere. That might work on some low-level pirates, but the Leopard Man can guess that it did not stand a chance against Straw Hat. Luffy calls back and says that Atlas gave them food. She was a generous host to the pirates. As we expected last week, there is no way he's going to let Lucci hurt her anymore. He is going to teach him a lesson for what he did. Luffy always stands by his friends after all. The Cypher Pole does not respond. He doesn't look happy about this brewing rematch, but he won't back down. After all, he has a mission to complete. Over in Navy headquarters, someone has finally told Akainu that the Straw Hats have shown up on Egghead Island. The Fleet Admiral is not happy to hear that, wondering how on earth Luffy and company ended up exactly where he didn't want them to be. He starts theorizing out loud, pondering if this means Vegapunk knows CP0 is after him. Could the Cypher Pole agents have gone in more directly than expected? Lucci's team are supposed to be subtle infiltrators, but if that wasn't an option, Akainu sighs. Lucci and his friends could have told him if they were going to start a war with a Yonko over this assignment. With all that's going on, things are going to get bad for the Marines. If they cannot take out Vegapunk here, the world's greatest scientists allying with the Straw Hats would be a nightmare for the Navy. What weapons could Vegapunk give the pirates? Seraphim? Robots? Akainu probably has nightmares about this guy turning the Sunny into a transforming mecha. He has to stop this if at all possible. Looking around, Akainu asks where Kizaru's gotten to. Apparently the old man is already headed out and is currently en route to Egghead Island. Interestingly, this was always the Navy's plan. CP0 has mentioned nothing about expecting backup. was Akainu working on something behind their backs. The Fleet Admiral tells the Marines to pass on a message for CP0. They are to wait for the Marines' arrival. No matter what, they should not fight Luffy before the Navy gets there. And now that our obligatory Akainu still exists scene is done, we cut back to Egghead, where of course CP0 is fighting the Straw Hat crew before the Navy get there. Luffy's friends are also yelling at him to not get involved, or at least think about it while they're running for the Lab Stratum. Neither side's followers want a confrontation. Unfortunately, between Lucci's need to accomplish his mission and Luffy's sense of justice, a battle seems unavoidable. The two are already trading blows as the bystanders start to run, having already shifted to their new forms. Back in the control room, the Straw Hats and Punks are watching the fight, though Nami notices Lucci seems different. Vegapunk Shaka is in awe of the pair. Their speed is incredible. He is used to awakened Zoan forms overwhelming their users' minds, but here, there is no trace of that. Both of these two have fully mastered their devil fruits, and the result is spectacular. Lucci takes a second to indulge in a little bragging, telling Luffy that he is not the only one who has gotten stronger. As the caption informs us, he too has awoken his devil fruit. The new form of the Neko Neko no Mi is tough, with a cape of black flame that matches Gear 5's white cloud look. Behind him, Kaku desperately yells at Lucci to stop, but it is useless. The rematch is happening no matter what. Above, Vegapunk Stella rushes into the control room, breathlessly asking Shaka if the White Warrior has appeared. Like everyone else, the old man is excited to see Gear 5. Usopp is surprised to see him join them so quickly, while Frankie is just over the moon at the sight of his original inspiration. The old man Vegapunk asks Nami what this power is called. The Navigator does not know, suggesting it is just one more power of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Vegapunk, however, has a revelation for the group. There is no such devil fruit. He has read the entire encyclopedia, and he can rule that out. Usopp is confused, but notes that Luffy called it the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Could he have just gotten the name wrong? Vegapunk isn't exactly interested in the continued theorizing. He is too distracted watching Gear 5th Luffy, marveling at the warrior's beautiful form. He also remarks on the resemblance between this warrior and a god mentioned in ancient documents. Sanji isn't willing to let that comment go so easily. Comparing Luffy to a god is ridiculous. The Straw Hat Captain has his virtues, but ultimately he's just an idiot. He's as normal as can be. Vegapunk doesn't argue with that, but he still praises Luffy's new form, calling him the Warrior of Liberation. The joyful warrior who puts a smile on people's faces. And for the first time, these Straw Hats who aren't Jinbei hear the name of the ancient sun god, Nika. On the ground, we see that Luffy has a clear advantage over his opponent. He's leaping back from an angry leopard, laughing his head off. The lab workers have been inspired by this. They are no longer running away, instead watching the brawl. Luffy favors his audience with a wink before turning back to Lucci. The eternally serious assassin has no answer to Straw Hat's cartoon nonsense. Every jab he makes, Straw Hat dodges effortlessly. This will not be an easy fight for CP0's assassin. Above, Vegapunk is continuing to talk about devil fruits, and his explanation has massive repercussions for the One Piece lore. The presence of the Nika fruit, despite the world government's effort to erase the associated god from history, is due to the people of the world. As long as they still want Nika to exist, on some level, the associated devil fruit will never disappear. And this is where Vegapunk gets into devil fruits in mass, and our jaws hit the floor. The world's smartest man actually knows where devil fruits come from. At first, all of them are born from dreams. A devil fruit is formed by humanity's desire to improve, the wish to be smarter, stronger, or to have the qualities of an animal, the speed of light, or the strength to shake the earth. All of those are embodied in these strange fruits, and all those dreams are rejected by the sea. In this world, the sea is the heart of nature. It covers the entire planet, save a handful of islands. Humanity wishes to push beyond the confines of nature, so for those who eat a devil fruit, nature pushes back. Vegapunk is still enraptured by all this. He might not believe in a god like Nika. He's not exactly a religious man, but he would absolutely tell you it exists. The Nika fruit proves it. The battle is still going on, with Luffy and perhaps more so Lucci going all out. The two punch each other's fists in a shot that echoes their first confrontation back on Enies Lobby. Both have grown since that fated day, training and pushing themselves. They likely have both been studying hockey in that time. Both Lucci and Luffy defy natural limits, pushing each other to new heights. The clash only grows more intense, with the dust and debris starting to obscure the view from the control room. As Luffy launches himself skyward with a laugh, a reluctant combatant has finally arrived. Yes, it is the axe-wielding Sentomaru, who complains that today was supposed to be his day off. These assassins show no consideration for the working week. He opens a communication line to Vegapunk Stella, asking the old man what he is supposed to be doing here. Apparently, he wasn't listening when he was first given his orders. Going by default, Sentomaru figures he is supposed to take down pirates, so he should order the Seraphim to assist CP0 against Luffy, right? But this is where Vegapunk chimes in with an actual explanation. Only now is Sentomaru being told that his employer is being targeted for assassination by the world government, after they have already attacked the island. Vegapunk apologizes, but asks his bodyguard to assist Luffy in driving off Cypher Pole. Sentomaru is not sure this is a good idea, pointing out that it would make him a defector too. He now has to take sides between his employer and the people who rule the world. Vegapunk admits he should have checked in with the big guy before this point, but lays on some guilt. He was taken in by Vegapunk and given a job when he had nothing. The Ultimate Defender grumbles at this emotional blackmail, but doesn't have an answer to it. He does owe Vegapunk, and right now, the Seraphim are with him, ready for a fight. The three look out at the battle, seeming more like bored children than the robotic stiff pacifista. They're like those newborn babies who seem to hate the world. Before Sentomaru can intervene, Kaku decides to try and preempt him. The square-nosed Cypher Pole agent has spotted the SSG captain and figures he can get the drop on him. As such, he orders their Seraphim, S-Bear, to take out one of the enemy Seraphims. Stussy tries to tell him if this won't work, but before she can explain, Sentomaru chimes in. He straight up orders S-Bear to get rid of the Cypher Pole agents. The robotic Kume Angel beeps, acknowledging the order. Kaku curses, recognizing his mistake. Their authority does not outweigh that of Sentomaru as the captain of the SSG. He can control their Seraphim just as easily as the three with him. And yes, Seraphim Bear unloads on Cypher Pole, sending the agents flying with a flurry of simple strikes. This thing is ridiculously strong. Kaku and Stussy manage to dodge the worst of the Goliath's attacks, though the armsmen with them aren't so lucky. Stussy explains that the Seraphim have a different chain of command from regular pacifista. Even the Five Elders cannot override Vegapunk and Sentomaru's orders towards them. Anyone trying to command the pacifista via transmission is ranked below those doing so in person. Kaku, thinking it through, points out that it would also be a big loss for the world government if they actually took down a Seraphim. It would be a tough fight to start with, and winning would probably mean destroying it. And these things are super expensive. Add to that the fact that they are about to become basically irreplaceable if their mission is successful and they kill Vegapunk. Why is Lucci so focused on fighting when it is going to destroy stuff they were told to keep safe? Does he just want vengeance for his loss back at Enies Lobby? If so, he doesn't seem to be getting it anytime soon. Back in the fight, Luffy is showing off a new move. He dubs it Gomu Gomu no Mole Pistol, but it is as much a Bugs Bunny punch, planting his fist to the ground and bringing it up beneath Lucci. As funny as it is, this is a good sneak attack, and it hits the Leopard Man right in the torso. Rob grits his teeth, clearly winded by this attack. Luffy's new form is stronger than he expected, but the Cypher Pole agent is holding his own surprisingly well. This is not going to be a simple match for either direction. Sentomaru feels things are clear enough to set out a battle plan. He orders the Hancock Seraphim, S-Snake, to escort the Straw Hats up to Lab Stratum via the vacuum rocket. The other two, S-Shark and S-Hawk, will engage CP0 directly to buy them time. Huzzah! Child soldiers will cover our hero's retreat. Jinbei and Chopper don't need to be told twice. The two start to run as the son of the sea asks Chopper if he also saw his oddly youthful double back there. The doctor confirms it. They seemed identical to him. Jinbei muses that he never figured the world government would clone the 7 warlords. Still, for now, he is busy running like hell. Props to him though. He has managed to heft Punk Atlas over his shoulder and is carrying her to safety. That's more than the lab technicians have done for their boss. Luffy jumps down to join Sentomaru, whom he refers to simply as Battle Axe. It's interesting that Luffy recognizes him, but doesn't seem annoyed. Sentomaru wasn't exactly a friend when they last met. Then again, it's never been a Luffy thing to hold on to grudges. Sentomaru snaps at Luffy to not just call him a Battle Axe. It makes him sound like a background extra or an old granny. As far as he's concerned, they aren't friends. But, well, Sentomaru double checks what the situation implies. Will Luffy really let Dr. Vegapunk escape on the Sunny? Luffy confirms that it is absolutely fine with him. Sentomaru is sorely tempted to take him at his word. He's not entirely sure about Luffy. but the Straw Hat has outdone his expectations again and again. Who would have thought he would manage to become a Yonko, for instance? Let alone achieve this new awakened form. If anyone can get Vegapunk out, it is the Straw Hat crew. But before the pair can talk anymore, however, they are rudely interrupted. Rob Lucci lunges out of nowhere, ripping right through Sentomaru's torso with a clawed Shigan. There is a spurt of blood as a man who once boasted he held the world's strongest defensive armament Haki falls to the ground, almost dead from a single vicious blow. That wasn't even the Rokugan, Lucci's pre-time skip ultimate move. This newly awakened form is no joke. Luffy cries out for his new friend Battle Axe. Sentomaru isn't dead, but blood is leaking from his mouth and he is gasping for air. He doesn't look like he is in any state to continue fighting. Lucci curtly reveals his plan, and it is a surprisingly solid idea. The command codes are Egghead's weak spot. If he takes down Sentomaru, the Seraphim will all revert to CP0's control. He might not be enough to take down Straw Hat alone, but he doesn't have to. As amazing as his new form is, against Lucci, Kaku, Stussy, and 3 Seraphim, even Gear 5th might not be enough to keep Luffy in this fight. Was a bit of this his plan all along? Lucci wasted no time taking out Punk Atlas last chapter. He was the one who suggested they deploy like this rather than sneak onto Egghead. This direct approach was always going to lead to Sentomaru deployed to fight CP0. And now, he is down, and they have 2 more Seraphim to play with. Only the Vegapunks are left to countermand the Angelic Pacifista, and if they get close enough to do so, they're close enough for Lucci and friends to kill. Shaka and the defenders just got a whole lot weaker. And it is on that note that we close chapter 1069. Do you think Luffy will be able to turn this fight around, or will we see Straw Hat forced to retreat? Will CP0 be able to get through the cloud layer? And what will Kizaru make of all this when he shows up? After all, he and Sentomaru seem to be rather close. Leave us all your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.